Nomsa here at Ngosi Talk Shows. Find your own voice, lead from within. With me today, I am with Carol Ann Cooper. How are you, Carol Ann?
I'm very well, thank you. And yourself?
Yes, I'm good, thank you. So our topic today is from awkward to awesome strategy for successful first date conversation. Wow, that is a topic, Carol Ann. First date conversation. Scary.
Yeah.
Turning a potential awkward first date into an awesome one largely depends on how well you engaged with a conversation. So today, me and Carol Anna, we're going to share some tips and strategies, what you can do to make your life easier. Over to you, Carol Ann.
Yeah, that's it's just a topic that's quite pertinent in a way for me because when I was younger, it was like I always didn't know what to say. I felt awkward, and so I never felt things were easy. In and it always scared me. Well, what do we say? What do we talk about? And okay, the first some of the boys I used to go out with, it just happened. So sometimes things happen, but I still felt awkward. Um, so I guess, and that can sometimes stop other people from going out and making that first step because it's that thought of, well, what do I say? What do we do? How do I, get through this conversation? And it's just remembering that actually what you're doing is getting to know them and sort of perhaps be aware of what's going on in your head. Are you already two steps ahead thinking, oh, is this someone I could be with for the rest of my life? Well, you haven't even got to know them yet. This is the first time, the first conversation. And all you want to do is get to know them and allow them to get to know you so you can decide, what do you want to carry on? And one of the key things really is just to be authentic, be yourself, not think that you have to be somebody else. You have to be larger than life if that isn't normally you, or you have to chatter. If you're somebody who likes pauses and is comfortable with a little bit of silence, then allow silence to be there. Because sometimes that pause allows for time for reflection. And also, if they're not comfortable with it, it's a way of getting to know them as well. And it's allowing them to be a bit more comfortable with a pause in the conversation, because sometimes it can happen. And it's being true to yourself. So not saying things that you wouldn't normally say, not doing things that you wouldn't normally do just because you think you've got to. It's be yourself. First and foremost is be yourself. And if they don't like that, then they're clearly not the person for you. And it's being willing to recognize that and go, okay, great to meet them. Great to meet you, but this isn't going to go anywhere, and acknowledge that and not be tied up in, oh, got to make this work, It doesn't. So, yeah, that's one of the key things, I think. What about you, Nomsa? What was there for you with this topic?
I wish it was that easy, Carol, and for the audience who are watching, honestly, I get
Mm,
messages sometimes on Facebook, like sometimes they're not my clients, it's just people looking for advice. They're like,
mhm,
they they set up dates. A guy will set up a date with a woman and maybe set it up on Monday, and then they're
mhm,
going out on Saturday. So, and then on a Wednesday, the woman does not hear from the guy. They'll arrange everything, the time and everything. This is where we're going to meet up and just be there. I'll be there earlier. The guy will explain is going to be there earlier and all these things. And then everything is fine, is set. So
mhm,
then you'll get somebody messaging me saying, no, sir, I'm supposed, it's Wednesday today, I'm supposed to go on a date on Saturday or Sunday, but this guy is not texted. He's arranged everything. He's booked the restaurant where we're meant to be going, but he's not said anything more. And I'm like, what else is there to say? I'm like, the guy is shitting himself about meeting you for the first time, and you're worried about he's not texted. He's actually in front of the mirror practicing the talk.
Oh dear, yes.
So I'm
where
like,
people's
so
minds
I
go.
just tell girls, just chill out. He will text, and then it happens Friday. He just texts. He would text and say, just to confirm that we're still on for tomorrow. Everything is still going according to plan. And then they'll go on a date, and then the girl will come back to me and say, "No, so you were right." I was like, just chill out. For anyone that is watching, guys, like what Carol Ann said before, if you arrange to go on a date for the first time with somebody, before the date, there is nothing really to talk about. You just because you don't know each other that moment. So the guy cannot keep texting and texting, or the woman cannot keep texting and texting, unless if you guys know each other and you can talk about other things. But sometimes some people they prefer to actually just the nerves, just to practice in front of the mirror, and the nerves. It's not easy to meet somebody for the first time. It's not really easy, guys. And when you do meet them as well, there are things that you need to talk about. There are things that you don't need to talk about. Like exes, we're going to keep the exes on the side. It's forbidden to talk about the exes. If somebody asks you, so why are you single? Please do just say, I'm single because I've not found the right person. Don't start explaining to them, wow, I'm single because my ex did this, they did this. Those are the signs of not dealt with the baggage. You're still holding on to something, even if you're still not. Some people they get rid of, they go through healing, but because they don't know how to answer the question. So never ever talk about your ex. You can only talk about them if you have children in that day. The time for you to talk about them will come when now you're dating, and that person is like, so tell me about your exes. What was the relationship like? And also, don't backstab them either. Just say things did not work out. Just we were two different people. Or if you want to bring it on the date, or if someone asks you, just say we were two different people, me and my ex. So we were not compatible. That's it. Don't backstab them. Even no matter how much they hurt you, don't backstab them, because it puts women off and it puts men off. And don't talk about child care, who pays for child maintenance. I had the client once, and then he went on a date with this client. And then when they come back, here's me getting excited. I was like, how was the date? He was like, no, sir. I spend the all night listening to who pays the maintenance, how much is paid. So please don't. Like Carol Ann said, allow yourself to be authentic. And then when you are authentic, the conversation flows. Just think about when you're giving somebody interview, but you're playful. How does it go? There's no silence that comes through interview. Everybody's exchanging words, but with the date is different. You laugh. Just have fun. What do you think, Carol Ann?
Absolutely. Bringing humor into it is really important, because laughing, it creates a connection. There's a joy there. And actually staying positive is really important. I like what you're saying there. Sort of, yeah, be aware of forbidden conversations. And certainly if it does come up about your ex, certainly just keep it positive, as Nomsa said. However bad it might have been it didn't work out. End of. And you can always go into that later if that relationship continues. You can dive deeper into the whys and wherefores. But even then, you don't need to be really negative and down on it. You can just state the facts. This is what was so, and this is how it impacted me. This is how I felt. It comes over so much more differently than they did this and it's a really down on them and not very nice. It's not nice energy. And certainly, so yeah, listening to someone talk about child maintenance all night, there's something there about dominating the conversation. Don't dominate the conversation. Be aware of the other person. How are they, you're talking, be aware of, there'll be signs that they've been listening a long time, and be aware, have you been talking a long time? Are you talking about the same thing all the time? And so certainly, how do you deal with somebody that is dominating the conversation? Can you just stop them in their tracks? Maybe bring a little bit of humor into it, or just put a question, so you can get a question in there that would just divert the conversation a little bit. Or even say, well, okay, yeah, I think I get the picture. Could we sort of move on? And if they still persist in that's what they're doggedly talking about, because there's clearly something there that they haven't resolved, maybe you could be upfront. If you're somebody who, again, being authentic, if you like to say it as it is, say, look, this isn't working for me. You're dominating the conversation. I've had enough of listening to maintenance. Can we please move the conversation on? Be upfront, be honest. If that's how, because, and if they don't like that, then they're not the person for you. But also, you're not being authentic if you're sitting there thinking, oh, I've had enough of this. I've had enough of this. There's no integrity there, because you're not actually speaking out what you're thinking. You're not listening from your heart. You're not listening from a place of, well, I'm interested. Because after a while, if it's not interesting, you've had enough of it, then that's where you're not being authentic. You're not being true to yourself. So be honest, be open. And if the whole date just goes sideways and it stops there and then, it stops there and then. And I think it's being comfortable with that, without having that fear of, oh, I've got to make it work. And what if they do get up and walk, or if I walk? If it's not right for you, say so. Get up and walk. Or just say, this isn't working for me. And I get that, there's a lot going on for you. What is it you actually really want out of this date? Find out. And if all they want is someone to listen, can you provide that for them in that moment? And say, okay, I can listen, but realize that I don't think this is going anywhere. It's being truthful, honest, and upfront. And I think that was something I always found difficult. And as I'm hearing myself say that, I'm thinking, yeah, maybe I could do that now, because maybe that would help. Either just not go anywhere and it's fine, or it might help the relationship to take another step. Or it's not even a relationship there, it's a getting to know you. It may take it on to the next step of getting to know somebody more. So yeah, I like what you're saying. And that be playful. Being playful always helps to just break the ice. If you can just have something that brings a bit of laughter to it, it just breaks everything down and helps you relax when you can laugh. And then just take a breath and move on. And then maybe there's sort of questions that you could ask are open-ended questions, not closed ones that only have a yes or no answer. So come in and ask them open-ended questions so that they can talk a bit more. And what is it? I read this, there is no such thing as a worthless conversation, provided you know what to listen for. So sometimes it's listening for what's not being said. And questions are the breath of life for a conversation. So always have some questions up your sleeve, or be prepared to ask questions. And if you're someone who's a bit frightened of and holding back on questions, deal with that beforehand. Be prepared to ask questions, but open-ended ones that help them to go a bit deeper, or just expand on something. It's not just yes, no, maybe. That's just doesn't go anywhere. Help to explore, open up and explore. And maybe if they're asking you closed questions whereby you just go yes, how could you open that up and maybe twist it around into an open-ended question from them in your head that would help to expand a little bit and open the conversation up? So if you find yourself being dealt with closed questions and just going yes, no, turn it around, see how you can shift it so you can open up and add something to it. Maybe you just say, well, what is it made you ask me that question? Or what else would you like to know about that? You know what I mean? Just opening it up. So perhaps taking a bit more of a lead. But conversation is that breath of life. It just keeps things going. So yeah, going back to bringing a bit of humor in. I love it. Absolutely love it. Definitely. Yeah, I love that. Yeah. So what else is there, Nomsa, that you found that's important on that first date? You're muted, by the way, and I think it's also, remember, unmute yourself.
Yeah, I think for me personally, there is plenty to talk about, guys. The first thing when you meet somebody, it's like like myself, like I'm Nomsa Mncube. So you got to ask myself, where does your surname come from? Then I tell you my country, and then it would talk about that, and then one minute you come to the UK, then it would talk about that, and then I ask you the same question as well, ask the guy the same question, and then once we talk about that, and then family now, where's your family, Nomsa? Are they here in the UK? You see, there's plenty to talk about. No, you can't really say there's nothing. You get scared. You know, when you meet like your best friend, it's like the things you like to know about your best friend, like what Carol Ann says, there's plenty to talk about when you go on a date. Um, you have this best friend. What are the things you would like to know about your best friends that make you want to hang out with them? So you ask those questions. It's very easy, like traveling. Do they like traveling? Ask those questions. And hobbies. Do they like, what kind of hobbies do they like? I imagine like when we talk about traveling. So the conversation for traveling could go on for 5 minutes because you're speaking, they're speaking. And then the conversation for hobbies as well. Because when you say traveling, they'll be like, wow, if you like traveling, where have you been? And then you explain those places. And then the guy, maybe he's been there as well. And he will start telling you that, wow, the most thing that I like about this place where I've been as well, Nomsa, is this thing, having to do this or having to do this. And you're like, no, you're joking. And it's like, no, I'm not joking. Maybe they like scary things, or they just let that person. When you're walking into a room, guys, what kills the date is when a woman walks into a room, they expect a 6'2" guy, and the guy is 6 foot. And then the body language tells that the disappointment. And if you're expecting a guy to be like George Clooney, and they're not really like George Clooney, but they are handsome, and then you're disappointed, and then the body language you can tell the guys can tell. And that's why for me, there's one thing that I have learned that have taught me is to meditate a lot. Meditate a lot, it means if I meet somebody, I don't care how they look. All I'm interested is a human being. What makes them being a human being? I just smile to everybody. I just sit down and ask questions. Yesterday, I found myself, I was sitting with this 90-year-old guy is wanting to date Carol, and the guy is so fascinating. And I was like, he's just so fascinating. His character, he looks so young. And I was like, the way he's speaking is like it still feels like a human. He still wants to get out there, put himself out there. He still wants to know what makes it what to do when he goes out on days. I was like looking at him, I was like, this is awesome. I wish everybody, these younger ones, can be like this. Honestly, Carol, and he was so fascinating. It's just like I was like, this man, he's 90, but he's behaving like a younger person. He just want to know. He just want to put himself out there. He says, no, I've got everything. But I still feel that though I'm 90, it's not the end of the world. He's traveled around the world. I'm watching him. He's worked with the Queen. He's served with the royal and he's been there, he's done that, but the humor, the character is just so amazing. And I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. The woman that will meet this guy, she'll be very, very lucky. And it's people like that, you don't find it nowadays. The reason why sometimes I don't know about you, Carol, and what you think is people they don't have the mindset of giving or just receiving. If you have a mindset of receiving and giving, because when you go on a date, it's all about giving, it's all about receiving. If you have that mindset, guys, you kill the date. You'll be like, you come out, maybe you even everybody wants to date you. If you just put yourself out there with the mindset of, I just want to serve you. How can I serve this person? The right questions to ask. What do you think, Carol Ann?
I agree. It's a give and a take.
Yeah.
Give and receive, and it is about sharing and listening and wanting to know each other.
Yeah.
And it's not just you wanting to get to know them so you don't share anything about yourself. It's being willing to be open and share yourself with them so they get a glimpse of you. So that's the giving and the receiving. And that is important, because if they don't get to know you, then how would, you might enjoy what you're hearing and listening from them and want to carry on. But if they're not getting the same back from you, they don't really get to know you, it might be, well, that's it. So you need to be willing to give and be open and share yourself and talk about your experiences and your beliefs and your hobbies as well, and experiences, because that is who you are, and it's not making that wrong, and it's not thinking, oh, they're not going to be interested. So it's hearing all those little beliefs beforehand. They're not going to be interested, or I haven't got anything to share. Deal with that before you go on that date. And, you can use tapping, you can use meditation, you can use prayer to just clear those negative thoughts and transform it into, well, I have got something I can share. I am worthwhile getting to know. And there are things I can talk about. And so that you can go with that positive attitude, because that's what will help in that time. And it will help with the nerves. I heard you say about nerves at the beginning there, being worried about what's going to happen before you go. Do some tapping on it. You've got the tapping at the top of the head and go, oh, these nerves. And then you can just tap around the eyes here on the corner. You go, these nerves around the side of the eye, these nerves, under the nose, these nerves, and then the chin, these nerves, and then the collarbone, these nerves. And that's just a quick tapping. You could create a bigger script around it, but just notice what happens to these nerves. And then, on a scale of 1 to 10, what were they to start with? What are they there now? And if they're still if they were at 10 to start with, they've gone down to 5, go round again and bring that number down. And then focus on the joy that you might have out of that date and those conversations. And if that gets a bit, I dare to have some joy, just do some tapping about that. The joy, just bring that in. So that's just emotional freedom technique, tapping. A great technique for clearing emotion and just bringing you back to that calmness, centered and focused. And you could even do it when you're on the date. If all of a sudden you find yourself really nervous, you don't need to go up here and do that there. You could just be tapping the side of your hand here, and just tapping, or even just here at the base of your thumb with the 3 fingers. That taps all the points. Just tap away here for a moment and go, got a little bit of nerves here. Not sure what's going on. And just be open just to acknowledge that, and then just feel yourself relax. So just have some techniques up your sleeve. Another one is sitting in hookups, where you just cross your ankles. You just put backs of your hands together with the thumb pointing to the floor. Cross your hands over, interlink your fingers, and then just roll under. And you can just sit like that, even when you're talking, or even just go like this and place your hands in your lap. It's less obvious. And just breathe and just listen for a moment, because that will help to just calm down emotions that might be getting a little bit the better of you. So, and any other techniques that you might know, or if you're not sure, just get in touch with us. I've got plenty. Noms has got plenty, and many of the other coaches got plenty of techniques that you could use there, actually on the date or before the date, just to help keep things on an even keel. Another one, if you're not sure about what to say next, and there's that little bit of halt, or you're not quite sure what it was they said, be happy to just ask them to explain or to open it up. But if your mind's sort of gone a bit confused, there's a great one called brain buttons. And you've got beneath the collarbone here, you've got 2 little dippies. If you put your middle finger and the thumb and straddle across to those dippies, put your other hand over your navel, just gently massage these points, or just hold your hand there. How often do you put your hand there? Nobody needs to know what you're doing. And you can just gently massage those points, squeeze it, and just notice what happens to your thoughts. And then just swap hands. And just place your hand there. But it's something you can do that's innocuous, that doesn't sort of stand out. I'm doing something to bring myself into the present moment, and because I'm uptight. It's just sitting, just sit like that for a moment. And the other hand on the navel just helps to stabilize things. And give yourself that moment. And then all of a sudden, things will spring back into life again. Your thoughts will clear. Your mind will clear. Your listening will clear. Just notice what happens. Your whole body can then relax. And it's when you're relaxed that the conversation can then flow. It's when you're uptight, your brain shuts down and you're trying and you're stressing. No, that doesn't work. It doesn't work. So where are we at now? Giving and receiving. That's right. And notice if they might be a little bit stressed. They might, you're in your head worrying about you. How about them? As you said, Nomsa, the guy's just as nervous as the woman, and vice versa. So they both have got nerves. So just notice. Maybe the person you're with is a little bit nervous. So you could just do this if you notice that, because you just doing that actually does knock on. You don't need to say to them, oh, do this a moment. I notice you're nervous. No, just do that and just focus on, okay, I notice there's a little bit of nerves here. And be mindful. So that's the giving, because you're receiving unspoken communication. And it's about listening to what's not being said. That's the key to good listening, active listening, giving full attention and really noticing what they're saying, hearing what they're saying, without you having prepared speech in your mind. Oh, well, I've got to reply to this, and I've got to reply to say that, because you're not really listening. Actively listening is allowing their words in. You hear what they say and you're chewing it over and really getting a full sense of what it is they're saying. And it's also listening for what's not being said. Feel into that conversation. And then you might just find yourself asking a question and they go, oh, how did you know to ask that? It's because you're listening to more than just what they're saying. And again, that just helps open things up. And it also breaks down. Can you hear there's that, oh, how did you know to do that? So there's a little bit of joy or humor or laughter comes in. So yeah, definitely it's and I like what you said, Nomsa, about that 90-year-old man and interest. You never know what somebody has got to offer. It's not about the looks.
No.
It's not about the age. It's about the person.
Yeah.
What have they got? What's their life been like? And what are their aspirations? Because, it's not about always going to their past. How about ask them, what plans have they got? What is it, what plans, what ideas have they got for the future? What is it they would love to do? Go forward in time rather than always going back, because that again gives you an idea about the person. What is it they would really, really love to do? There's I had it in my head somewhere, but yeah, I think that's really what I was saying. I think there's another word I wanted to use as well. But what are their plans? Get curious. I think there's get curious about what are they somebody who's got aspirations to be something, be somebody, to do something, what is it they would like to do with their life? So looking forward rather than constantly being in the past. Again, it brings a better balance. And again, it gets you to get to know the person. Are they somebody who's perhaps got some aspirations? There's a word that my husband always used to say about me. You're too, I've forgotten the word, but I was always planning. I had dreams. I wanted to move on. That's really okay. What's that word? When you're, it'll come. It'll come. Let's move on, Nomsa. I'll bring the word in a minute.
Keep it simple, guys. The date, yeah, like Carol Ann talks about exercises. What I did when Carol Ann talks about relax and do some exercises. Within my company, there's one thing that I don't do. I don't tell my clients what I've seen other dating coaches. It's not that is wrong. They say when you go on a date, wear this color of clothes, wear this, wear that. I don't do that within my agency simply because I don't do that crap myself. So I would not tell anybody else to do it because it does not work. But if it was before 20 years ago, I'll tell you to do that. I tell you a minute why I don't do that. And then the next thing, what I said as well, Carol Ann, when she talks about exercises, relax more and do that. And the other thing is what to say on a date, guys. The reason why I don't tell people what to say on a date, a loving and caring person that is a giver, that is ready to receive, you wouldn't tell them what to say. It has to, the conversation, it has to come from within. Anything that has been rehearsed, it does not connect with the person. If I sit down with you and rehearse and tell you what to say on a date, when you meet somebody, it does not work. The reason why is that conversation, it does not coming from your inner being. You'll be thinking about Nomsa, what Nomsa said this. But if I tell you one not to say, one not to wear, for women, don't wear anything that shows your boobies out. Because if you meet a guy that is not attracted to you, that is, you going? Yeah. Yeah. So if you meet a guy that is not attracted to you, but they see your boobies, you're very attractive, they're just going to be playful for the sake of this. So they are no longer talking from their inner being, they're talking because there's something else that they want from you. So as a woman, make sure that when you go on a date, you are covered. Keep the guy guessing what's in there so that you actually connect with the right person. Wear something that is comfortable, not something like tops. You're talking and then you keep lifting the tops, it causes distraction. Just wear something that is elegant, that is beautiful, that it makes you feel comfortable. With the conversation, the reason why I don't believe in what to say on a date is because that conversation, what I did with my conversation with my first date, I I got rid of the best stuff. I made a decision who I wanted to become and who the image I wanted to go, which I coach my clients before they go on a date for a week or 2 weeks for them to be who they want to be. And I meditated for 40 days. I prayed, fasted for 40 days. I wasn't aware of the character I had become. In front of the mirror, what I did, I practiced the smile every single day. But I wasn't doing it for dating. I was just connecting with my inner being. I would smile every day. I smile, I meditate. And then I met this guy for some reason. We met, we started dancing, and this guy got, because I'm now being me, I'm not worried about what people think. I'm dancing with this guy, we're having fun, we're laughing. He's a stranger. I'm just treating him like a normal person. We're talking, asking questions. I'm being fun. I'm like, is this how you British people dance? Let me show you how in Africa we do things. So then we're laughing, we're talking. So the guy, because he's never met a person that really value him, that really accept him for who he is, he goes home, he thinks, that girl, she's so naughty. I've never met anybody like that, because I was smiling, looking at somebody in the eyes. I was looking at him in the eyes, every conversation, eye contact. So the guy does not contact me after for 2 weeks. We meet and then he doesn't contact me. And then he contact me because, Namsa, I just thought I need to call you. I've got really mixed messages about you. So when he called me, I was giving some old woman some direction. So he goes, but something keeps saying, contact her. So I was like, yeah, what? He goes, when I met you, I thought you were a bad girl. So I was like, oh, what do you mean I'm a bad girl? He goes, because you were so free. I've never met anybody who is so free. And the way you are is just like, I thought you were really bad. I was like, that is actually my character. And he was like, can I take you on a date then? I was like, yeah. And then before that, there was a guy that I had met as well. And this guy is the one that actually made me become a matchmaker. He actually, after a date, he was like, I don't think I'm there, Nomsa, with this happiness that you have within. You made me feel so home, so comfortable. and you're so happy with it. But it's something that I was doing it, but I wasn't actually rehearsing it. I wasn't doing it like, yeah, I'm training, going. I had already made a decision in my head that I'm not going to rehearse or anything. Anything else that is has to be the real me. And then after that, when I met these two guys, that's when, and then when we started dating with Martin, and then 6 weeks later, he looks at me, he goes, "You're not fake, are you?" I was like, "What do you mean I'm not fake?" I was like, "I've dated girls, they just fake it as they go along. No, but you are just something else." I was like, "Yeah, I got tired of that. If you had met me 10 years ago, I would have faked it for you, but I got tired of it." So I'm sharing this with you guys is you have to keep everything simple. It's travel, talk about pets if that person like pets and you like pets, and talk about hobbies, and talk about your profession, your work, talk about your family, music, and movies. The conversation will just keep going. And at the same time, this person, that remember you're meeting them, they're not your husband. So you've got no reason to think that they're not going to like you. If they don't like you, be it. So you have to make that decision before you start dating who you become, in order to make your life very easy, very simple, no complicating things. And then you got to deal with your inner being, that tightness. Let it go a bit. It's like when I'm with Carol Ann and Kamau, who else that is very, very playful at Ngozi talk shows? Who else? Shireen. She's more, yeah, Shireen is she's more playful. Who else? Claudia. When I'm talking about these guys, I know I can be anything. I can be comfortable. They are very comfortable. But other coaches, they're like, you ask them questions, they answer that questions, and that's it. So you have to make that decision to say, this is the character that I become. And whoever I cross path with at this minute, there's two choices. They like me or they don't. You cannot be liked by everybody. Like Carol Ann was saying, exercises, guys, meditate. Meditation is not all about doing it. It's releasing the stress. It brings out the best in you. For me, I meditate in prayer. I pray, I fast. Every week I fast. But like now, right now, I'm on a journey for 2 years and 9 months every day fasting. So I've seen the changes as well that is doing in my life. So you can just do what works for you and just loosen up. The child, like inner child, bring that child within you and be like, not being desperate, but a character that is created authentic, like what Carol Anna was saying. You cannot beat it. When I'm with Carol Anne, I know that I can be myself. I don't have to pretend to be something else that I'm not. So you have to have that attitude of authenticity, create an image that works for you when it comes to clothing wise. We do have a Happy within the company. Happy, she's a stylist. When she comes, she does she's a buddy. She's with you to help you to choose your own things. She triggers things. Her job is to use the psychology for you to actually choose the clothes that you want, the style that you want, not what she thinks is good for you. So that's how we work at Hope Spring Eternal Introduction Agents.
Yeah, that's important to be comfortable in what you're wearing. And it isn't about choosing something that someone else thinks you should be wearing.
Yeah.
It is about what you want and what, you can have their advice, because sometimes you get another opinion and it's like, well, no, it doesn't look quite right. But it's ultimately your choice, what you feel comfortable wearing. And because if you're comfortable with what you're wearing, you can then relax. You're not fidgeting and feeling uncomfortable and worried about, what you're wearing, because that brings in different vibes. That doesn't help you to be relaxed. And it is all about, that's what we've been saying, isn't it? It's just about being relaxed and comfortable in the moment with this person, in the conversation, and creating a connection and an idea of, well, I would like to know more. Let's go on another date. Because, or I've enjoyed this person's company, but I don't think it can go anywhere else. That's the whole idea of this first date. Don't put anything more on it. Just keep it comfortable and simple. Because you said something about keeping it simple. I like that. It's always keep things simple. Don't complicate it. And certainly the attitude that you go with. I love that, that smiling, you smile to yourself in the mirror. If that's the attitude you want, keep smiling, And it is the whole attitude that you go with is what will set the tone of the date. And if you go with that positive attitude of you're going to have a great time, you're going to get to know this person, you're going to get to know whether you want to continue meeting up with them or not, whether they want to or not is, if they want to and you want to, great. If you want to and they don't, great. It's all about finding out. And it might be the other way around. They want to, but you don't. And you don't need to feel bad about it or feel a compulsion. Well, they've said they do, but I have to. That's not being authentic or true to yourself. So it's being comfortable with whatever the outcome is and talking about it, being honest, or why you perhaps don't want to, or why you do want to. What is it that makes you feel you'd like another date or you don't want another date? So yeah, it's going with, it's letting go of all judgments, not being judgmental, because that is a killer, as well. And if you're someone who is very judgmental, then you're going to kill the whole conversation. You're going to kill, there's a tone that's set there that's not very nice in the first place. If you're going with an open mind to really get to know, be curious, and bring joy to this person's life, and to your life, it's an experience. It's an adventure. Treat it as such, an adventure, an exploration into getting to know another person, another human being. And that word that I was looking for is ambitions. Do they have any ambitions? My ex-husband always used to say I was too ambitious for him. Yeah. Like, well, sorry, that's me. But as it turned out, he was able to proceed through. He passed. He was a police officer. He took his sergeant's exams and then his inspector's exams, and he ended up becoming an inspector. So he got there, and he got the sort of the joy of that. But it wasn't something that he was for himself, because he didn't have a background or a family that was ambitious or had any ambitions for him. He had to sort of find his own way. Whereas my parents, they were ambitious. They would sort of push us and say about moving forward, or doing different hobbies, finding out different things, going to college, going to uni, or whatever. They would always support us. And when I did become a teacher, I went to teacher training, and my dad said to me, "Oh, you might want to be headmistress one day." I went, "No, that's a step too far, Dad." But can you see where at that time I didn't have that confidence? It was like, oh, just let that go. I did become head of department, which was something I didn't, because I actually ended up teaching in a secondary school, even though I trained as an infant teacher, because I didn't think I could teach the older ones. I didn't have the confidence, but hey, life takes its own twists and turns. And I did end up teaching secondary school, 11 to 18-year-olds, and becoming head of department, head of maths department. And so could I have possibly ended up head teacher? Why not? I look back now and think, well, possibly, it's, so maybe there's something I could become head of now. I wonder what that is. I'm just having a quick, my brain just goes off on a tangent. What is it that's something that maybe that step to being a head teacher was what I always thought was a step too far for me. How would that look in my business or where I'm at? I might go and explore that. So again, it's looking at those listening to those limiting beliefs about what you believe about yourself and doing something about them. Transform them so that it's more positive and it helps you to move forward. And get curious about, if I could do that, what might then happen? What might my life be like? If you're stopping yourself from doing something, and if what you're stopping yourself from doing is taking that first step to having a conversation on a first date, then come along, get in touch with one of us, and we can work with you to get over that hurdle, to break through those barriers, that block, so you can take that first step. You can move, take that first step, have that first date, have that conversation, that first conversation, and see where it takes you. And being open and comfortable to just moving forward in that way. So this is what we're here for. We've, having talked about strategies for a successful first conversation, first date conversation, we're also here to help you achieve that. So do get in touch with us. Maybe there's you're worried about what to talk about. Well, one idea that when I was sort of looking around and just doing a bit of more research around this, something I hadn't thought about was, you sometimes go for dinner and then you go for a movie. Well, how about doing it the other way around? I thought, what a great idea, because then that gives you something common to talk about. You've already got something in common. You've been to see a movie, or you've been to the theatre, or you've done, or any other experience. Just go and have something experience. Go and go to a comedy show. Go and volunteer together. Do something together. Go and have a picnic. There's all sorts of things. Go to an art class. Go to a cooking class. There's all sorts of suggestions. That you could just go and do that first, and then go and have a drink or go and have a meal afterwards. And that gives you something to talk about. Already, you've got something in common. And that allows you to springboard. And I thought, I just thought that was a great way of having a first date. Actually do something, and then you can talk about it afterwards. So it's certainly share an experience first. And then that helps to, what's the word? Pave the way, break the ice, gives you something to talk about. So other things that you could talk about, you've already spoken about travel, NAMSA, that's a great one, and it doesn't necessarily need to be limited to travel abroad, big holidays. It's like maybe you're someone that likes to travel around this country or the country that you're in, because this was something I realized in the UK here. My ex-husband and I, as a family with my two daughters, we had a mobile caravan, and each year we would go caravanning, and we always went to a different place around this country. Even though we'd go somewhere and we say, oh, love to come back here, we never did, because there was always somewhere else. I'd realized how much there is to just see in this country, let alone other, there are other countries. So traveling, what sort of travel do you like? Is great. So maybe just asking them things about, very simple, what is their morning routine? What food do they like? How do they spend their weekends? Just little simple things, because you're wanting to get to know them. And maybe what was their dream job when they were a child? And how has that panned out now? Can you see how that can springboard forward? And where they are now, is that where they want to be in the future? So what do they dream of doing as a child? Where are they now? And are they wanting to continue with that? Because when I went into teaching, I mean, as a child, I wanted to be a hairdresser or a librarian, or I wanted to own my own kennels, be a kennel maid, you know, because I used to help out in my aunt and uncle's kennels in the holidays. And I loved that. But being a kennel maid, there's no money in that. And then I thought I'd like to be a teacher. So I became a teacher. And I never thought I would ever leave teaching. But other things happened, and I discovered personal development. I discovered educational kinesiology, brain gym, touch for health, NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, EFT, you know, tapping, and all sorts of things. And just my whole world opened up. And so I did end up leaving teaching and starting up my own business, and then exploring into the world of writing, because that's where I'm at now, in the world of writing. So it is being curious and allowing yourself to move and meander through life and not be fixed and rigid, because the universe has a way of deciding it for you.
Yeah.
And you very often don't like the way it decides for you because it gives you a jolly big kick up the backside, you know, and it makes you stop and think and reflect and think, oh yeah, I ought to be doing this, you know. So if you don't want those big kicks up the backsides, then take the hints, take the thought, and be flexible and meander a bit. So yeah, that's I think what I'd like to just perhaps leave our listeners with is something that Oscar Wilde said. Ultimately, the bond of all companionship, whether in marriage or in friendship, is conversation. And another quote is, two things can destroy any relationship: unrealistic expectations and poor communication. So if you feel that your communication skills are lacking, then do something about it. We can help you with that as well. You know, being a better communicator. So that's what I'd like to leave you with, and just that joy of looking forward. That first date, that first conversation. How is it going to go? You decide. What do you think, Nomsa? What would you like to leave our listeners with?
And also the other things that you can add politics, if the other person likes to talk about politics, but don't be controversial. Religion, you can ask about religion, you can ask about children, if that person has children, physical attributes and exes, just as we said before. Like when you ask about physical attributes, you can ask questions in a fun ways as well. Just find ways to be playful and smile a lot and be playful, and just don't worry about the tomorrow, whether he's going to like you, whether he's going to call tomorrow. Think about the now. When you go on a date, think about the now, because the body can tell, it can feel, and the other person will feel what you're feeling. So just be playful and be authentic. And what else? Playful, authentic, and also whatever you decide to wear when you go on a date, make sure it's something that is your character, not somebody else that tells you what to do. And if you meet somebody on a date They are wearing things that you feel like, I don't like the way they dress. Please don't judge them if they're a nice person and you're attracted to that person. People, uh, I've seen people that they're like, I'm not going out with this person because the way they dress or because the car they drive. I've had loads of guys. You'll be amazed at how people reject people. And so try not to reject that person because of what they're doing. Because some people don't have a clue on what to do. They don't have a gift of having an eye of clothes. Like myself or Carol and I used to go with my mom. My mom will go to the shop. She'll look at the clothes and she'll test it and she'll put her tongue in it. I'm like, what are you doing? She's like, I need to make sure it's quality. If it's salty, it means when I put it in the washing machine, the color is gonna go out. So I need to make sure that is actually original material. So I'll be like, okay. And she'll be like that because I hang out with her. She's a fashion designer. Now the character that I have when I walk into a shop, you don't have to say, no, sir, buy that. And this is a tip as well that my ex gave me. He was like, sir, imagine. I was like, you buy clothes, but you don't know my size. How does that work out? I asked him first because I realized he was buying me clothes, but he didn't know my size. So I asked him, I said, what's my size of clothes? He was like, I haven't got a clue. I was like, how are you buying clothes then? I was like, Nomsa, when you love somebody, you got to look at their body shape when you're with them. When you see their body shape, when you're walking into a shop, you just pick that the energy, your energy, you will just connect with me. This is perfect. I was like, wow, that is awesome. He was like, yeah. It was like, I just look at your body, how it's shaped, and then I walk into a shop, I pick that up, I'm out. And then it worked because I did it once, and then now it fits, and then I can tell it's your size. So when I go back, I just do the same. And then he was buying me nice clothes, which my family were giving me problems like, give me your clothes, give me your clothes. So that's when I realized that actually you have to be you, and that's what I'm doing when I go to a shop. I just go to a shop. I'll look at the shape of the dress because I know my body. I look at my boobies. Before when I was doing my healing, 40-day healing, I had to observe the whole part of my body and come to love it. Everything. So it means when I go out, I just go and pick the clothes. So do the same when you buy clothes that are right for you. That's what I'm leaving you with, guys. And if somebody is not wearing nice clothes, don't dismiss them. Some people they're not gifted. But if you come to us, a matchmaker, that's when we help you. But if somebody hasn't got a matchmaker, they're just on their own, don't dismiss them because they might need your help in that part. I met my spouse. He was good looking, is wearing these beautiful clothes but with the shoes. I wondered, what is it? The granddaddy shoes, man. I was like, I like the guy. So we dated. And on a second date, that's when the shoes they had to go. I did not tell him, but they had to go. And he was like, Nomsa called me. What are you wearing? I described what I'm wearing. He was like, okay, my shoes got to go now. I feel sad, but I have to let them because there's someone in my life now. So I have to get rid of them. I was wearing them because they are very comfortable. But I did not tell him that. But I was laughing in my inside of me. I was like, guy, you're wearing nice clothes, but I have no idea with the shoes. Honestly, yeah. So he went and bought his own shoes. I didn't have any input in it, but there's always a story behind a person. So don't dismiss the love of your life because of what they are wearing or because of what you think they don't have the eyes or the hands. Sometimes it's the hands. Women dismiss men. He hasn't got big hands. I like men with big hands. I'm like, this is creepy. Yeah. So yeah. Don't dismiss the love of your life, guys. I leave you with this. And please do connect with us on social media. If you do want to know more about dating, please do contact us, or you simply want to join the agency, do contact us. For coaching as well, you can go to the website and make some inquiries. Take that step and be the woman or man that God created you to be. And God bless everyone. I will see you tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm with Grant and Amanda.
See you next Tuesday.